Hey, so this is my first video. So I got a small account. I'm no professional by no means at all. So, it's pretty much an introduction to my YouTube channel. So, yeah, stick around and listen to my whole trading journey and, see if we can learn a couple things from it. Who knows? So, see you there. I'm in a trade right now too, so we'll be talking through this trade and also about how I began trading. So, when I first realized that I needed to supplement my income instead of just relying on a 9 to 5, um, like obviously, I got a house, had a mortgage to pay for, and let's just face it, some circumstances it's hard to afford a mortgage, you know, and and sometimes your job doesn't, you know, doesn't offer, more pay or whatever, or something. Yeah, you go out and get another job, but why not just learn a financial skill and just eliminate all that instead of just relying on the 9 to 5, because the 9 to 5 is not as safe as people think it is. It's not as safe as people think it is. So why don't you just learn a skill that, a skill that is not that nobody could take from you, and that's actually kind of an essential skill. If you look at, prop firms and, you know, hedge funds and stuff like that, there's actually people who pay you good money to be able to analyze charts like this. So I got lucky, and I was kind of well. How it began was I started looking up, what I can do to start supplementing my income, and then I was just kind of looking on, YouTube or whatever. I was just kind of looking on YouTube, even though, that's one of the worst things you could do, because there's so much vast knowledge on there that you don't know what to look up. So you could be looking up one thing and then looking up another thing, and you're just overloaded with all this different information, and it's just not it's not good when you're overloaded with information like that. And so I started by I looked up trading. That was the last thing I wanted to do, honestly, because I knew how risky it was. So I did all that, and then I was looked through all the different options. So I was looking up the different options, and trading was going to be my last thing I was going to do. So I did end up, just finally looking into trading. So that's what I did. I looked into it, looked into the trading, and I ended up finding one guy that was saying all the things that they don't tell you about trading. That's what I wanted to know, what they don't tell you. Which that was one good decision I made in the beginning. But I'll talk about more decisions that were not good that I made in the beginning too. But so this one guy was talking about all the things that they don't tell you in trading. So he was like talking about, all the mistakes of, not following your rules and stuff. It's live traders. It's Jared Wesley. That dude's a phenomenal trader. He's multimillionaire. He's got a bunch of real estate. He's totally successful. You know, but he he was trading. He's been trading for 15 years. He's a veteran trader. That dude is just full of discipline. He beats discipline in the people. He's like the Arlie Ermy of trading and discipline. And so I was listening to him, and I really liked what he was saying. But the thing was, is I couldn't afford his courses. So so I couldn't afford his courses. So I was kind of just trying to watch through his videos, and that, and that's not just not going to do it. So what happened was is I lucked out. I actually lucked out because I was I went to go deliver a check to the bank for my dad because I was working for my dad. You know, we were running a semi truck mechanic shop, and I was running the check over to the bank because that's what I would do quite a bit actually. If I wasn't stuck underneath of a truck. So I'd walk into the bank, and then I knew everybody in there pretty well because I'd be in there a couple times a day. And so one of the bank ladies, she I was I was sitting, we always talk, I talk with all the people, so just kind of carrying on the conversation. I was just like, yeah, so I decided to take up trading or whatever, see what that's about. And then she's like, oh, my husband my husband trades Bitcoin and stuff, and maybe you should get a hold of him. And that's what I did. I did get a hold of him, and then I got a hold of him. You know, we were messaging back and forth and stuff, and then and it was pretty funny because like I was all like giddy and stuff, and I was just like I was too euphoric, because I was like, I found this one stock that I put like $600 into. I did end up making money off of it, but I was literally in drawdown, like $400 drawdown for like, I don't know, it was like a full year. So I was just sitting there monitoring the trade. I was hodling, which means hold on for dear life. And so I was holding on to this trade or these stocks. I was just kind of monitoring it with my the technical analysis that I've been learning throughout the year. After I go over you know my first part of the story. Um, so then she was like, oh yeah, my husband, and then yeah, I became friends with him on Facebook, messaging back and forth. And then he was like, and then he just kind of laughed, because I was like ridiculous about the excitement. And then he's like, there's this one education system that I go through, and I really think that they're worth it, in my opinion. And then so I was like, okay, tell me more or whatever. So he goes to, tell me more. And then he's messaging me back and forth. And then he puts us into this group chat. And it had his trading mentor in it. That's Jay Wayne, you know. So we're all talking back and forth. And then Jay ends up sending me a voice message, a couple of them, you know, um, saying what, you know, I'll put the voice message in here, or the voice recording in here too. And so we were messaging back and forth, and then I was like, oh, okay, so I had a little bit of money to play with. So what I did was is I started or I yeah, I forgot how I was able to afford it, but it was totally affordable for this mentorship. So, I started paying for it every month. And then here's the first mistake that I made. So I was paying for it, and then yeah, I was paying for it, and then sorry, I'm just trying to think, like go through all the things. So I was paying for it. I For like 6 months or 8 months or something like that, or something. I just watched all the videos. Like I watched all of, like, from beginner to advanced, and that was during Team Take Profits. That wasn't during TTA, which is right now. And so I just watched all the videos, beginner through advanced, one time. That was it. Never touched a live chart, nothing at all. So that was the first mistake, So I'm sitting here. I get done with and then I learned all. Then I read all the books they told me to read. And then, so I was like, okay, once I get done with Bob Volman's price action scalping, I'll open up my live account. I mean, like, and then like, so I open up my live account after I get done reading that. I put $2,000 in my live account, and on my first trade, I took a $5 lot size out, thinking I was going to be able to do stuff like Jay. So I did that, and then I was up like $115 and I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is so easy. The trap that every beginner trader falls into. And then so I was up $115. Then I was holding it. I didn't get out. And so then it went back against me and I lost $115. So I was like, oh man, okay. And then that kind of did frighten me. I don't think I took another $5 lot size after that. I think I took what was supposed to be, and I took the dollar lot size. So because I had never touched a live chart before, but I still knew how to see. It's so far, because this is like 3 years. This is like what, 2019 or something. I think it was at the end of 2019, something like that. So $2,000, and then I started taking the regular size I was supposed to be taking, like a dollar lot size or whatever, even though it was with $2,000, which was good. That's pretty good risk reward or risk management. Dollar lot size with $2,000 account is pretty good. And but I was still figuring out how to trade. And okay, this is recording. I was still figuring out how to trade because I never traded on a live chart before. So that was a mistake. I should have just went to demo, but all year I was learning on my live account, like all year. My account was by the end of the year, my account was at zero, or not zero, I'm sorry. I never blew an account, never blew in the live account before. Fortunately, I don't think I will, because I'm at that point to where I know what mistakes not to do. And so I never blew a live account because I was too scared to take larger lot sizes, But right now I am over leveraged. Not even with a $2 lot size, but usually I take like a $6 lot size usually, in certain areas, So I do over leverage right now. Yep. But I mean, like, my brain's used to it, and that's the thing. If you're used to it and you're used to the drawdown, sometimes I do end up in drawdown that I'm like kind of uncomfortable with or whatever. But once I see structure start to hold, it feels a lot better, So actually I got a video last night that I recorded about that, or showing that pretty much, like right in the process. And so I was so yeah, in the first year I was learning how to trade, and I was still watching the videos and still trading on my live account, and I was making all these. Sorry, give me one second. Oh, that looks pretty good. So I was learning from my mistakes, but I was trading I've been trading on my live account forever, But so at the beginning of the year, my account was down to like $1,000. It was like under $1,000. So throughout the whole year, I only lost $1,000. That's pretty good. That's pretty awesome. So it really depends on, like, when you're learning how to trade, you always just want to take such a small, if you have anything saved up, just take a small amount of that. And then learn how to trade. Don't ever try to learn with some stupid amount of money, in my opinion, at least. because there'll be some people that will be like, oh, you should trade, start trading or day trading with $25,000, which that's what you have to do if you're a day trader in the United States. With some things, you have to have $25,000 in your account, and you can only do it with forex. I'm pretty sure with the having an over you can have leverage and have a smaller account, but so I pretty much I only lost within that first year. I only lost $1,000, which is pretty dang good. So that was all during 2020. So I was still learning pretty good stuff, but the thing is I did start gaining some consistency, and that was all in 2020. I was getting all the, technicals all figured out and stuff. But in 2021, I had some or a good amount of money that was given back or going to be given back to me through taxes. And so I think I had my account up to like $4,000 the next year. And man, what happened is I started gaining I had the consistency for a minute. I got my account almost up to like $6,000. And once I got up to that spot, that seeing the $6,000 mark kind of like, it kind of was a lot of pressure, you know what I'm saying? Because I was like, holy crap, like this is crazy. So what happened is I didn't even realize that in 2021 or 2020, I developed habits that were detrimental to my trading. And those habits, because once I got my account almost up to $6,000, I started losing. And I couldn't figure out why either. Well, no, I was trading with the trend. It got up to like a substantial resistance level on the daily, and then the trend stopped continuing. So, and then I couldn't really figure out why I was losing, and it was because it was reversing, and I think all that whole consistency came with trading with the trend for that like month or whatever. It was uptrending for a month, something like that. And then it started reversing and I started losing, and I couldn't figure out why I was losing. I'm like, why couldn't I figure that out? And I started losing, and then and then the habits started kicking in. The bad habits started kicking in. And then I started, trying to figure out like what's going on here. So like for about like 6 months, I think it was 6 or 7 months, I was trying to figure this out. But for that 6 or 7 months, I was still over leveraging. And I was actually like, I was trading with a $10 lot size, trying to get stuck, trying to get my account back up. Big mistake, with the habits, that I had. So I went from $6,000 all the way back down to like around 1,000 again. So that's even more money lost, So I did that, and then I was trying to figure out why I was losing, and I just couldn't fathom it for some reason. I was going through all the psychology stuff, and yeah, I get this, get that about, caveman stuff, or caveman brain and stuff like that. But that doesn't tell you really anything. It doesn't tell you how to fix it. It doesn't. Nobody really goes into detail on how to fix this stuff. But I finally started figuring out how to, start doing stuff like that. It's literally it's going back through the trades and learning from what you did wrong was each night that you analyze your loss or win, did you lose because of a psychological mistake? Did you lose because of probabilities? Did you lose because there's something that you didn't see? You know? And but the thing is like if you go through a night and you're having more psychological mistakes over a period of trades, then obviously you have a psychological issue. And if your psychological issue or your trigger is missing a trade, like sometimes that'll happen to me. Like I'll get triggered a little bit when I do miss a trade because I was sitting there for hours. I just want to, have a trade, especially when my account's so small, you know. And so I pretty much just, I was developing bad habits. I couldn't really manage my habits. Once I was actually able to fathom and look at and see it, I could start managing it. And I just managed it day by day. If I saw a situation where I was, where one habit was catching up with me, I would just focus on that habit. I would just focus on that. And if I just did not do that night, then that's an accomplishment. So that's the thing that nobody tells you. If you could just try to manage your emotions or whatever every night, and you could just if you could just manage one of them, at a time, that's an accomplishment. And that came with, I started hopping on, so a couple of guys that I was at when I'm in TTA. And so one of the guys that, or not one of the guys, but two of the guys posted something one day, and they were saying pretty much saying that, man, we need to hop on some calls or something. Like they were having issues too. So I was having issues that same night or that same week. So I was like, screw it. I'm just going to get a hold of it. I'm just going to, tag these guys and show, hey, let's all just hop on a call every night. Screw it. Let's try to figure this out. So, we were all having psychological issues. It wasn't nothing technical. You could be a great trader in 6 months. A trend line ain't nothing to draw up. Support and resistance ain't nothing to draw up. Uptrend, downtrend's nothing easy to determine. So we were all having psychological issues. We'd hop on a call every night for I think it was I don't know, it had to have been it was 3 months or something like that. And come to find out that, some of us were having issues with not following our own analysis, and that end up screwing us up. And so we realized so we stopped hopping on calls for a minute. And then I started doing better because I just do work better when I'm only listening to my own analysis, So yeah, and then that's when I started really realizing that I started actually being able to depict my different my habits and stuff, hearing the different habits that other people are having. And so that helped me depict and dissect and be able to start pinpointing this stuff. So I did that, and I started gaining my consistency again, but my account was tiny again. So it was I was also underneath that pressure of my account was already went from $6,000 to $1,000. So it was already man, it'd be nice to be able to get that back. But so I finally lowered my lot size to it was $5. I knew how to trade, so it was it was still over leveraged, but I was only scalping, So that's what my mentality likes is, scalping, so I so I started gaining my consistency again. And then yeah, I started gaining my consistency again. And then I had this I had this I had this car I was gonna fix up and try to make more money off of it. And then so um that ended up going down the drain because it was I didn't I sucked up my pride and just like didn't just I was like, all right, screw it. We're not gonna deal with it because you need a nice warm place to do it. It was too cold out. I wasn't gonna deal with it. I just wasn't gonna do it out in the cold like that. And I was just like, there was so much. I was like mowing grass in between, and it's like by the time I got home, it's like I just lost the motivation to do that. So I ended up not fixing it. I just ended up, selling to this one kid that wanted to fix it up. And so because it was a good the body was nice on it. So I ended up selling it for $400. I didn't want to scrap it. It's too nice of a car to scrap. So I ended up selling it to the kid, and then took that money, took a little bit of money out of my trading account, and then I went and bought a funded account. And I ended up failing on it. And I think the reason why I ended up failing on it was because it was the beginning of 2022. It was the very beginning. So markets were still trying to pick up, you know. And I've noticed that the markets are acting a little different now. Like just a year transition, you know. Because I was consistent. I grew my account 40% in December of 2021, and like 20% and in November. So I was consistent because I was following my rules. And so that was good. So I was like, okay, I got this now. I got this. And then so I did that, and then and then things just weren't going the way they were in November and December, you know. Price was pushing back into the zone a little further than I was used to, because I was able to determine where I was going to be able to put my stop loss according to a rejection at certain zones. And then so I started getting stopped out. And then so it was on $100,000 account. So I kept on getting stopped out. So I was like, man, what the heck, dude? So I started losing, and then my equity curve, you can't even call it an equity curve. It was all down. It was a downtrend. Like it was horrible. So I only paid like $600 for this account. But the thing is I was almost at a point where I was making thousands of dollars a month. Well, not even, I wasn't even almost there. I actually opened up a demo account with them. It was FTMO, and I think it was like a $20,000 account or whatever. But the equity curve on that was amazing. But I opened it up. Or wait, I can't remember what happened. Oh yeah, I think I opened it up at the beginning of the month, and then I can't remember what happened. But I didn't have enough time. I didn't have enough time to um reach the profit target, and so it was, I didn't have enough time to reach the profit target. But my equity curve was beautiful. So so but then once I opened up, I couldn't even get past the verification account on my FTMO. So I ended up failing on that. I was like, ah man. So um yeah, I mean, like the FTMO account was failed because I wasn't used to the way the market was moving when the new year came, you know? So that was a mistake. And then and then yeah, so I failed my FTMO account, moved back to my moved back to my personal account, and then I started losing again, because I was still like, I almost had it with the FTMO account. I almost had it. And then once you go through that, you're kind of more susceptible to some of your um some of your emotions coming back, and some of your habits messing you up again. And so yeah, I mean, like, I started losing on my account again, and then so that was kind of like, I was trying to figure out, like, what the heck, dude, like. And then for some reason I just couldn't, just because these the emotions are so overwhelming sometimes, that it was just hard to pull myself back up out of it. So um so once I started gathering myself, and then you know figuring out, like, how am I gonna become disciplined again, and just just pay attention to just high probability setups, you know and so I was paying attention to that. And then the thing is if you're having a hard time, if you're having like a hard time with, like, trying to you know get your discipline back and stuff, or whatever like that, just like go back to the basics, like, period. Just, and then don't focus on anything else. Just go back to the basics, trade with the trend, and don't do anything else, just focus on the more high probability things, like that. Only trade trending markets, you know focus on retests and stuff like that. So I'm like, that's pretty much my whole, like, trading journey, because that's, this is right now, you know all the way up to that. Failed my FTMO account in, what, January? Yeah. Yeah, January. Yep, failed it in January. This is February now. So um so that was my first YouTube video. I hope you guys liked it, but it's definitely new to me. So hopefully you guys are, hopefully you guys enjoy my whole YouTube channel, and hopefully you guys can learn from it. I want to give some, I want to be able to give some psychological advice too, if I could help you guys with that. So stick around and follow me, like, comment, and subscribe, please. Because it helps me out, helps the algorithms out. And we're all here to learn. So, all right.